Hi, welcome to Pleasure Sports. Today we're going to take a look at the fall 2011-2012 Oneill Heat in a 4.3 millimeter and in a 3.2 millimeter. The 3.2 millimeter is actually just turned inside out. They're identical in construction except for the thickness of the neoprene. So we're going to start out by looking at the 4.3 and then we'll jump over and take a look at the interior of the material. So in the 4.3 you actually have 4 millimeter neoprene in the core body and 3 millimeter neoprene in the arms and shoulders. And that's so that you can actually maximize stretch in the wetsuit. In the 3.2, you actually have 3 millimeter neoprene in the front and the core body and 2 millimeter neoprene in the shoulders and the underarms. And so other than that, the thickness in the two suits, they're identical in construction. So let's take a look at what you're getting for your money in the Heat. A major advancement in this particular wetsuit is that now 100% of the wetsuit is using UltraFlex DS neoprene, and that's a super stretch neoprene, an ultra stretch neoprene that Oneill has that's proprietary, that's lightweight, light density, and super comfortable. So you'll actually see that 4 millimeter neoprene is super stretchy even in the low body. In previous seasons, this suit utilized a different neoprene in the lower body and only the super stretch in the top, and so now it's 100% super stretch throughout. So this suit in the manufacturing process was actually first glued together on the seams, and then it was blind stitched. This seam stitch, it doesn't actually penetrate all the way through the neoprene, so it's a watertight stitch. And in the Heat series wetsuits that Oneill makes, they actually put another layer of liquid neoprene or liquid taping on the outside seam, single seam of the wetsuit to make it really durable and watertight. And where you don't see the liquid taping on the wetsuit on the exterior, it's actually on the interior. So you can see it here. So it's 100% fluid seamed, glued and blind stitch wetsuit throughout, and utilizing 100% UltraFlex, ultra stretch neoprene. A couple other features that you're going to get in this wetsuit is the Handcuff neoprene strips here. These are actually strips that actually keep the wrist seals in place, as well as preventing the wetsuit from blowing out the seams as you put your hand in and out after you're done with the session. So that actually keeps the wrist seal super durable. On the front of the wetsuit and on the back of the wetsuit, you actually have a sort of a sharkskin type material, and this actual material wicks away water, so it's water repellent, as well as wind resistant, so wind doesn't penetrate this. So it keeps the organs nice and warm, it keeps your core nice and warm, which is the key. And you can even see that these panels go wrap around the side body and help keep the kidneys nice and warm. On the interior of the wetsuit, if you take a look over here, you're going to see that extension of that single weld where you didn't see it over here on the exterior. So you're seeing that fluid seam on the interior here where it's not on the exterior. And what you're seeing in this red panel here is a material called the firewall. So it's UltraFlex firewall. It's a thermal insulation. It's really light. It's heat retaining, and it's super stretchy, and it wicks away water. Along the neck of this wetsuit on the interior, which is neck facing, you have a roll skin collar, and that piece of neoprene that rolls around actually helps prevent rashing when you're moving around in the wetsuit. And this glide skin actually helps keep a seal between your neck and the neoprene, so that when water does hit, there's a nice seal around your neck so water doesn't come flushing into the wetsuit. If you go back to the exterior of the wetsuit, I have a couple more things I want to show you. This is a anatomically cut wetsuit. And what that means is it's got pre-bent knees and calves, so they already fit the shape of your body naturally, and that was by design. That's how they cut the neoprene. And what that does is it actually lets your body naturally fit inside the wetsuit so that there's not extra neoprene, because if there is extra neoprene, water will pool and you will get cold. So this also keeps the wetsuit nice and snug so that you don't get exhausted with excessive material rubbing against you and just weighing you down. On the knee pad, you have a kryptonite abrasion resistant knee pad that's really stretchy and awesome, so that when you're walking around, even on land, or even if you're kicking in the wetsuit, you don't feel like you're working against the materials are working with you. On the back of the right leg, you have an exterior key pocket hole with strings, so you can actually put a key here and tuck it underneath, and it's on the exterior, and you can even see how detailed this wetsuit is, that it has a single weld also around the key pocket, which is great. Along the ankles, seals, same thing with that stripping that actually keeps the ankle in place and also helps prevent the ankle from blowing out because the foot has to go through it time and time again. So keeps it coming back into shape, which is really great. On the back side of the wetsuit, to give you just a little bit more, one more feature that I just get really excited about. The back of this wetsuit has a zero seal seam on the lumbar. So you've got no stitching here in the center lumbar. A lot of wetsuits have a seam here. What this has is a natural contour in the groin so that you can straddle your surfboard or your jet ski, whatever you use the wetsuit for, and be comfortable and not have to put pressure on a seam, which would ultimately likely result in a tear in the seam from pulling in both directions with both legs. So you've got no seams here, and when you have less seams in a wetsuit, you really can maximize the material because you can stretch it and you don't have to sit there and be pulling on stitches and seams. So this is a wonderful wetsuit. It's at a great price point. Again, it comes in a 4.3 millimeter and a 3.2 millimeter, and it actually has a complementary boot that complements the suit. You can buy these on our site as well in the left-hand side navigation under boots, but it's also called the Heat. And it comes in 3 thicknesses, a 3 millimeter, a 5, and a 7. Depending on your tolerance to cold, this is a 7 millimeter. A lot of folks that wear a 4.3 will either pick a 5 millimeter or a 7 millimeter boot. And it's got a great design. It's got great support. It's got a great toe buck, so that if you rub up against things, you're not ripping up your neoprene. You've got an adjustable strap that helps keep the boot fitting snugly, as well as giving you more arch support. You've also got another Velcro strap around the top of the Heat boot, and that actually helps prevent flushing, which is water pooling into the suit, into the boot. And on the interior here, you've got that same firewall material, that wicking away heat retaining material on the interior of the boot. So check out the Heat boots, also in the left navigation. And if I missed any features in the Oneill Heat, you can see more information on the boots and the wetsuit at pleasuresports.com.